Rowan is the CEO of Apollo Global, the parent company of the company that I work for. He is upset with the University of Pennsylvania. He's not alone. A number of major donors, the Lauder family of Estee Lauder, the Huntsman family, John Huntsman, a number of others are pulling their money back from the university. A number of Harvard donors are pulling their money out of that university because the universities claim to be champions of free speech, but they regularly silence people for supposed microaggressions. They educate their students on microaggressions, but 1,400 Jews are murdered in their homes, and they're perfectly willing to, in the name of free speech, allow Hamas supporters to march across campus where they're chanting, literally chanting on Harvard's campus, among others, and the University of Pennsylvania, there's only one solution. Now, for those of you who are not students of history, Hitler called the extermination of Jews the final solution. It is not a coincidence that these college students are literally chanting, there's only one solution. So first of all, I want to ask these financiers and CEOs of companies, where's the anti-Semitism component of your DEI curriculum? Because I just went through the online harassment, etc. curriculum for my company that's owned by Marc Rowan's company, and there was nothing about anti-Semitism in it. Where's the education on anti-Semitism from your DEI units in the C-suites of America, many of whom come from these institutions that are championing Hamas right now? But there's something else going on here. There's something profoundly rotten in the schools of the elite in this country. I want you to notice we've heard about UC Berkeley, which you would expect. We've heard about Columbia University, Harvard University, Yale, the University of Chicago, which actually strongly rebuked the students and took action. They're one of the very few. Heard about the University of Pennsylvania. You notice where you're not hearing about these, and of course there's Georgetown and George Washington. You know where you're not hearing about these massive pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, anti-Semitic, anti-Israel protests? You're not hearing about them at my alma mater, Mercer University in Macon, Georgia. You're not hearing about them on the campus of Purdue University. You're not hearing about it in the SEC college towns. In fact, the University of Florida had a huge pro-Israel demonstration with only a smattering of pro-Hamas demonstrators. You're not hearing about the anti-Israeli sentiment at the University of South Carolina or the University of Georgia or the University of Kentucky or at Louisville. You're not hearing about it at the University of Alabama or Troy State. You're not hearing about the protests at LSU or Texas A&M, or the University of Arkansas, or Oklahoma. You're hearing about them at the rich, secular, white schools where the elite send their children. And those are the kids who will rise to inhabit the C-suites of the Fortune 500. Those kids will go to Dartmouth, they'll go to Harvard, they'll go to Yale, they'll go to the University of Pennsylvania, and they'll inhabit those C-suites because guys like Marc Rowan at Apollo value the people who go to those schools who they consider to be the academic elite. And the academic elite hang together, except now these kids on these college campuses want them to hang separately. You want to clean up the environment, stop hiring the kids from Harvard and hire the kids from Emory. Stop hiring the kids from Duke, frankly, and hire the kids from the University of North Carolina. Stop hiring the kids from Yale and hire the kids from the Citadel. Stop hiring the University of California at Berkeley students and hire the kids who went to Louisiana State University, Monroe. Stop hiring those kids from the elite academic institutions. Now, to those of you who are thinking, but there's something special about them, I thought that one time. Years ago, back in 2009, I got hired by CNN. I was a country bumpkin from Middle Georgia. Now, I happen to have grown up overseas. I've still been to more countries than states, but education wise, I graduated from Jackson High School in Jackson, Louisiana, a public school where most of the kids who graduated did not have basic reading, writing, and mathematical skills. I graduated from there because my parents had first sent me to a private school for about 6 months, but oil prices in the Gulf War in the early 90s shot up to $1.25. They're like, well, we probably need to send you to public school instead. It was a horrible experience. I made good friends and I hated every minute of it. Got great stories out of it. But I went from a very highly accelerated academic institution overseas to literally my first day in public school, had a kid in class who didn't know what the word liberty meant. Not making that up. And then I got the biggest academic scholarship to ever come out of Jackson High School, and I went to Mercer University. I had a scholarship to go to Duke, of all places. I'm glad I didn't go there. They were really not nice people. They wanted me to know I needed them. They didn't need me. So I went to this place called Mercer University, where they ultimately one day beat Duke in the NCAA basketball tournament, March Madness. But I got hired by CNN. And I literally am surrounded by people who are fellows of the Kennedy School at Harvard, people who graduated from Columbia, people who graduated from Harvard and Yale and Princeton and Dartmouth and Brown and Vassar and the University of Chicago and the University of Pennsylvania, and all of these prestigious, well-known schools, a lot of them in the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic. And I got to tell you, a lot of these people were dumb as hell. I mean, really not bright people. I was stunned to be head and shoulders smarter than so many of the people I was on television with, people who they used their father's connections to get ahead in life. I was on television. In fact, there's this one guy who I won't say his name. Y'all would know who he is. But his claim to fame is he and his girlfriend would have sex in the back of a campaign office every day. And he claimed to work for this campaign, and his father used his connections to get him on television as a campaign strategist. The kid did not know anything, had never conducted a poll in his life, had no real lived experience in life. I went into this place thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be surrounded by these academic elites. They were some of the stupidest people I've ever met. And to this day, most of them have horrible family lives. I may be from Middle Georgia now, a native of rural Louisiana, but I actually ran campaigns. I actually did polling. I actually did TV and radio commercials for candidates. I actually know what I'm talking about. Many of these people just use their elite listings on their resume to open doors for them. Stop opening the doors for them, Mark Rowan. Stop opening the doors for them. Estee Lauder family, stop opening the doors for them, John Huntsman. Stop opening the doors for the kids from these institutions and watch the change happen. I can assure you, in my real world experience, you've got brilliant people who went to Tulane or LSU or Emory or the University of Georgia or even Georgia Tech. Now, they may have no social skills, but they're still geniuses. You can find people at Purdue. You can find people at Texas A&M. You can find people at University of Oklahoma. Look to the SEC. You're not having anti-Israeli, pro-Hamas, anti-Semitic protests in the streets of these academic institutions. Maybe those of you who are so into the elite Ivy League need to ask yourselves, why is it that these kids are marching, chanting, there's only one solution for the Jews, and you're not having that in all these other institutions? Maybe you should wonder what you yourself have done to contribute to an environment where a bunch of spoiled, privileged idiots can go get a degree that says Harvard, and you open the door for them, and they want to kill you. Maybe, just maybe, the ivy at the Ivy Leagues is poison ivy. And the best way to deal with it is to spray herbicide on it and go look to the SEC for your kids and jobs. You'll find people just as smart with a cute little accent who aren't out to kill you